Hello, my name is Whitney Hall, and this is going to be my presentation over my values summary paper. So to start the paper, I talked about my worldview and values. I recognize that my worldview is very theistic in nature, and because of that, my value system is also very theistic. I grew up Southern Baptist. My parents were raised Southern Baptist, and their parents as well. So I come from a very heavy theistic background. I'm also Osage Indian. So some of those traditions and those beliefs do play into my worldview a little bit. And I think sometimes also, just being female also plays into it. But for the most part, it's theistic, including the Osage beliefs and traditions. Those are also very heavily theistic beliefs. So for the second part of my paper, I talked about how my family and friends have impacted my worldview. I was raised by my dad and my stepmom. They gained custody of me when I was about 6, between kindergarten and first grade. I do have a relationship with my mother. It is one that I probably operate at within an arm's length because she's not a very healthy person. She tends to be a little bit verbally and emotionally abusive if allowed. And so I was raised by my dad and my stepmom. My dad battles mental illness, and that did cause him to get himself into trouble later on in life, and I'll talk about that here in a minute and how that affected me. But for the most part, my dad and his stepmom had a very stable household, and that's where I grew up and was raised. So I also have some wonderful friends from college that I'm still mostly friends with. But right now, my friends are mostly the ones that I go to church with or that I work with, and they're godly women. They're wonderful influences. A lot of my close friends right now are also people that I work with on staff at church. So I have a really, again, theistic worldview and influences that play into my family relationships. So back to my dad. My dad does battle mental illness, and he did end up making some mistakes that landed him in a federal indictment situation where he did actually end up having to go to prison. And I didn't realize until I was an adult how much that actually had affected me. I mean, I was an adult when it happened, but a much older adult. I didn't realize how much it had affected me and how much it had impacted my worldview at the time and my value system at the time until I started to come out of it on the other end. So it still has left a lasting impact in my life. We do have a relationship, a good, strong one. And so he very heavily has shaped my world in a number of ways, actually. So part 3 was about work and organizations that we're a part of that have helped shape our belief system. So I've had a number of random jobs. My first job was a waitress at Golden Corral when I was 15. I've been an office administrator. I've been a pharmacy tech. I've been a hospice nurse aide. And I now am the preschool and early learning center director for the preschool area at our church. So this actually is the position or the area that I know I'm supposed to be in. I know I'm supposed to be working in ministry. Long term, I don't know if it's always going to be preschool and children's ministry, but right now it is. And it's a wonderful foundation and leadership growth that's available to me in this area. I think is going to be invaluable for the future. Most of my jobs have been service-oriented jobs, which speaks to some character traits that are really highly valued on my part. So I enjoy serving others. I enjoy helping others. I enjoy being in a relationship with others and constant conversation with others. So all of my jobs, except for the one as the office administrator where I was miserable, have all really played into values that are extremely important to me. The fourth section was about how this program has affected our lives. And I prayed about coming back to school for quite some time. My husband actually attended SNU in the adult learning program. When he decided to become a police officer, he needed to finish his degree. He'd been in the Air Force previously, so he sought out SNU, finished his degree, became a police officer. So I thought, well, he did it while we had small children, so surely I can. But I was really praying over the actual degree programs, and at the time we were working with a third-party consulting company, and one of the gentlemen that I highly admire and respect actually told me he had his master's in organizational leadership. So I took that as a real encouragement that I could do something in ministry with this degree program. So I decided to enroll. And that kind of leads me to the future aspect. I'm really excited to see what God has in store for me because of this. I'm headed to the grad program for leadership in August. So after that, who knows? Who knows what God has in store? But I know ministry is where I'm supposed to be, and I'm really excited that SMU has provided a leadership opportunity for learning and for growth in that area. And I think that I'll be able to do something for God's kingdom because of it. Thanks.